Welcome back to the program, everybody. This is the Friday Night Sports Show on your 590 VOCM and Labrador's Big Land FM. I'm your host, Ben Murphy, and now I am very excited to now welcome to the show and to the VOCM studio here, Travis Canning and heavyweight champion, not a big deal, Blake Maxwell of New Evolution Wrestling. And honestly, guys, it's a sport I don't really know a ton about, so that's what you folks are here for. But guys, welcome to the Friday Night Sports Show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure to have you here in studio. And again, like we were talking about earlier, it's always great having people in studio.
Absolutely. We're happy to be here.
So, guys, now, established in 2015, New Evolution Wrestling is Newfoundland and Labrador owned and operated entertainment company that is committed to providing family entertainment to audiences of all ages. So, first off, guys, just tell us all about New Evolution Wrestling. How did it start? Where did it all come from?
It started in 2015. Myself and the other co-owner, Sheldon Bishop, decided to get together and just start up a new wrestling promotion here. There was two other companies on the go at the time, and we just decided to do our own thing and do our own version of what we thought professional wrestling in Newfoundland should look like. And we just sort of integrated some of the local wrestlers here with some of the guys from other provinces and other international, national wrestling champions like former WWE star Billy Gunn and Rene Dupree and things like that. So over time, it's sort of built to what it is now.
So, how did you come to those decisions to make those differentiations between, those other promotions?
Well, without trying to say anything negative, because I find that when you have multiple companies, they all bring a certain degree of value.
Absolutely.
But I really felt at the time that I wasn't able to do a lot of the things because I was with another company previously, and I felt that I wasn't able to capitalize doing some of the things that I would have liked to do, like bring in certain talents to work with the talents that were here to help the brand grow. So I just decided to jump on board with my best friend of 23 years, Sheldon, and we decided to start up another company and just start clean slate from scratch and start building it the way that we wanted to build it.
How hard was that to do?
It was pretty hard. It took us we started in 2015 in December, but I would say we started laying the groundwork for it probably before the summer of that year. So it took at least, 5-6 months for sure of just simply planning it out. And, we had to get a wrestling ring. We had to, get all of our ducks in a row. And, of course, one of the things I had that was easier was working with other companies previously. I did have established contacts.
Right.
So we already had an open avenue in that regard to bring in, former wrestlers. And so we had contacts to work with right from the beginning, for sure.
Yeah, so, you said you started in 2015, and it's only 2019. So that you've come a long way in just a few short years. So just tell us a little bit more about that and the growth.
Well, a lot of it is just finding diamonds in the rough. Blake Maxwell here, for example, he was trained professionally by former WWE wrestler Lance Storm. It's probably one of the most
not a big deal.
Highly regarded wrestling academies that you can go to. So, and when I tracked him down, he actually hadn't been wrestling for a long time, and he was someone that I felt like if I'm going to start the company, let's take a guy that is fresh, will still be new, but had all the talent that you could need to build a company around. And I took some of the other guys who were here at the time, Dynamite Dylan Davis, some of the locals, Wild Thing Tony King and Justin Locke, and just put together a great group of guys and built the foundation from there. We just built on it over time for 4 years, and I just we incorporated together, I guess I shouldn't say me because there's no I in team, but for lack of a better term, of the promoter. So, but what we normally would do is just bring in guys who would work well with the talent that were here and build it, make it grow. It became popular. We started reaching out to media sources like yourself and collaborating with local other entertainment, which we'll probably talk about later on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll dive into that for sure. Now, Blake, what was it like for you when, you had Travis come and be like, hey, we're starting this up, and what was going through your mind?
Jeez. I was very surprised. I was working at Good Life Fitness at the time, and he gave me a call up. I had no idea who he was. And he's like, I just want to meet for a coffee. He's like, I want to talk about wrestling. I'm like, okay, sure. So anyways, we go up and we meet up for a coffee. It's like he explained to me that he's starting up this new fed and he wanted me to be a part of it. And he was just very respectful about it and very open. And So I said I'll give it a shot and went down, and 4 years later, here I am.
Yeah, how
So-
easy was it to jump on board? Was it something you contemplated for a bit, or?
Well, I still knew I knew a lot of the guys from years back,
Yeah.
way back when, and so it was actually pretty easy. Just meet up with all the same names and a lot of old buddies that I just got re in touch with. So yeah, it was a great time. I'm having a blast. Still am.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And like you said, like in 4 years, here we are, and it's it really has taken off. But first, before we go any further, can you tell us about some of these like classic, like just classic names in Newfoundland wrestling, local talent?
Classic names, I guess the most classic one would be Sailor White. He started Cutting Edge Wrestling back in 1998, which is a huge attachment for me because I came from Cutting Edge Wrestling before I started the company, New Evolution Wrestling. So it's they're kind of attached at the hip. New Evolution Wrestling has sort of become the dominant company, but the Cutting Edge name is still around. It's been around since '98, and a lot of that dates back to Sailor White. And a lot of people just don't want to let that heritage go because, as you know, he's a former WWF Tag Team Champion, and
Wild.
So, I mean, a lot of people, I don't know if they know that or not, but we have a lot of heritage there in that regard. So, a lot of classic wrestlers. I mean, I think Tony King has been around for a decade now or more. I mean, he's been wrestling some of the top guys that have come in here, like Billy Gunn, and a lot of the guys from the Maritimes, like Titus came in. They had great matches together. There's another wrestler. He doesn't wrestle anymore, but it's a wrestler named Too Damn Hype, and he was a great wrestler back in the day as well. As someone who I would highly regard as one of the more mature local talents that have been around for a long time. So,
How much have people like that done for the sport in general?
they've done a lot, to be honest with you. It's almost like, and a lot of the guys back in the day, they didn't do this for money. It's a passion project, right? And to be honest with you, sometimes it still is. I mean, it has
totally.
its ebbs and flows. So, I mean, it really does take a lot because, I mean, there's a lot of guys who miss work for, they would give up a shift that they would make half the money to go wrestle. And so there's a lot of passion put into it. There's no doubt about it. They've sacrificed a lot and their time and their bodies get beaten up. It's not easy, you can say what you will. A lot of people throw the word fake around quite a lot, but it's definitely not.
And that is something that, it does, like you said, it does get tossed around quite a lot. So, Blake, can you kind of attribute to that and how tough it is on the body?
Oh yeah, it's not ballet. It's it could be very tough. I've had a few injuries myself. I'm sure at one point or another everybody's had an injury at one point or another. So. But like Chili was saying, it's not about the money. It's something we do for fun, and yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, what are one of the nastier injuries you've had in wrestling?
Concussion, I would say. Yeah, it's not very nice.
Been there. No, it sure is not. No, that's for sure. But so one cool thing about NEW is that you guys have been selling out your shows all over the province.
Yeah, I mean, one of those things where it just caught fire. I don't know if it's a social media thing or it's like a passion project on my part, I guess, relentlessly going out and promoting regardless of the weather, regardless of what time it is during the day. I found myself out putting up posters at 12 a.m. in the morning on George Street. So, I mean, there was times I thought I was going to get frostbite, but then when the 500 people show up at the show, it's like almost worth it, right? But I mean, I can't explain. It's not one thing that caused it to take off. It's a mishmash of like work ethic on the part of everybody, putting the right talent in place, and bringing in, former WWE talent.
Yeah.
Because when you start bringing in guys who have been on TV and have a name, you get that casual audience. It sort of makes your company look a little bit more compatible.
Totally.
So there's that. So I mean, it's a mishmash of everybody's work and just timing and bringing in the right talent at the right time and.
But you've done a lot of it without like major headliners. You know what I mean?
We have, but a lot of it is, community-based stuff. I mean, we have attached ourselves to a handful of organizations here. I know I've had a lot of discussions with like Easter Seals, and we do some things with like Autism Society, and of course the St. John's Edge has been very, very good to us for the last couple of years since they've been around. I think it's like a community support project, and no matter what size, obviously the Edge have taken off. They have a huge market share, but make no mistake, they're very much embedded into the cultural aspect of Newfoundland here. They like to come to other people's, programs.
Yeah.
So sort of like we have like reciprocal type relationship where they come to our events, we go to theirs.
Totally.
And we sort of feed off each other. So that's a lot of it too. I mean, we're not doing it ourselves. There's a lot of support there from the community, right? I mean, it's not an individual effort by any stretch.
Yeah, and you guys have been, putting off these shows in the halftime at halftime of St. John's Edge games. Where did that partnership come from initially? How did that happen?
So it was initially there was a mutual friend of mine, Colin, who works with the management at the St. John's Edge, who sort of introduced us to some of the guys that were involved with the organization.
Okay.
And he thought it would be a good idea because, I guess they were having like people down there for concerts and like, just having fun activity nights and things like that. Because one of the things that we're finding now, and it's not just for wrestling or basketball, if you go to a lot of other organizations, the sport or the activity itself, in and of itself, doesn't sell the way it used to on its own. And that's true for wrestling, it's true for basketball, it's true for hockey, for football. You see what they're doing with the halftime shows, making them bigger. So, sort of incorporating, making like a family affair out of it. You give another reason for someone to show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So that's what it is. So, I mean, I'm sure that there's people showing up at our shows that didn't even know that New Evolution Wrestling existed or that there was even a company here because, we're selling out shows. But at the same point in time, there's a market share that we haven't been able to reach, and we're sort of tapping into it because of the St. John's Edge. And vice versa, I mean, a lot of our fans, I think there was like close, 150, 200 of our fans that went to
the Edge game.
The Edge game.
Yeah.
That's the reports coming back anyway, something like that. So, I mean, just them tapping into a bunch of little organizations like ours.
Yeah.
After getting 200 from us or 150 from us and another 150 from elsewhere, I mean, that's how they're getting extra people in the door, right? And that's the same thing with us. We attach ourselves to like Easter Seals and, just treat the community really well and just having like an open door policy for any of the organizations that are out there. I've also had conversations with people at SPAN, Single Parents Association, and things like that. So I get my... I get my name out there that way and just make the right contacts and just treat people good. And a lot of it's just being nice and treating people good and making good contacts. It works.
What kind of impact has that had for you guys at New Evolution?
Oh, it's huge. What we find now is that people are just showing up, the same fans every show for the most part. And they're getting behind a lot of our local favorites here. I've had WWE superstars come in. Eugene, former WWE superstar, came in, last summer, and he asked me how many people I normally get per show when we don't bring in a WWE wrestler. I told him we usually get 450, 500.
Yeah.
And he said, "Why are you bringing me in?" And that was his response. He said, "You don't need me." I said, "Well, it gets us a little bit of extra publicity, and it just gives the fans a treat, something, to look forward to whatever once in a while. It's not something we do all the time, but so for him to say that, obviously it tells me that we have a good thing going.
Absolutely.
Here, right?
What kind of reception do you get down at the game?
We got a pretty good reception, according to the guys from the management. Just the management themselves, from what I hear, the trickle-down effect is that they do want us back again.
Awesome.
But aside from the fans, I'm getting messages like on our Facebook page and other social media. When is our next wrestling show? We have never been to a show until the other night. So there is we're getting extra fans that didn't know about us that are coming in and supporting us now because they notice us down there. So they put us in front of 4,000 people, which is huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? So
that's absolutely incredible. But we'll go to the break and then we'll come right back to continue this conversation and we're going to dive a little more into the heavyweight champion when we come back. But don't go away. We'll be right back on the Friday Night Sports Show on your 590 VOCM and Labrador's Big Land FM.
Call now 273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. That's 1-888-590-VOCM. The Friday Night Sports Show will be right back. This is the Friday Night Sports Show on the VOCM Big Land FM Radio Network.
All right, welcome back to the Friday Night Sports Show, everybody. I'm your host, Ben Murphy, and I am joined here live in studio with Travis Canning and Blake Maxwell of New Evolution Wrestling. So now we're going to dive right in, and we're going to go into our heavyweight champion. So, Blake, first off, just tell us about your start, how you got into the industry, and then your rise to the top.
Okay, well, it all started when I was 18 years old. Just turned 18, and I went up to train with Lance Storm at the Storm Wrestling Academy in Calgary. And, so I worked a long time just to save enough money to actually get up there. But when I finally did, I got some top-notch training. He's probably one of the best one of the best trainers around nowadays. He's got a whole list of names that actually came up and actually made it somewhere because of him. And so I was lucky enough to make it there. And after that, I came home and I wrestled for a few years, and I kind of fell away from it for a little while.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just felt like maybe it wasn't for me, and like I enjoyed it, but like there was a lot of headaches that goes along with it. You know what I mean? But so after going on a hiatus for a couple of years, finally this guy messaged me up on Facebook, asked me to go out for a coffee, and the rest is history. But that's pretty much the way I started.
Mm-hmm. So like, when you went away for that training,
Yeah.
like what goes into that training? Because like you said, it's tough, and I can only imagine how gruesome it is. And so like, how long is that program, and how extensive is the training?
Jesus, it's about 3.5 months. It's straight up cardio for the first month and a half. Yeah, people will be throwing up there after their training, but but after the first month, you get into more the technical side of everything and doing all the moves and piecing together a match and learning the psychology of actually becoming a wrestler. And
Interesting. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
It's psychology.
Yeah.
There's there's a way to put together a match. Like you typically you got your a face. What you call a face is a good guy, and you got a heel, which is the bad guy, right? So you work together in a match. You start off a match, you want to give the baby face, which is a good shine, is what you call it in the business. But it's basically a good start, and which will lead to like a beat down, and then eventually the heel will take over, and then the idea is to actually build each other up, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to make each other look good.
Yeah.
Basically, but you're working together. It's not like a combat sport per se. You're actually working together.
Yeah.
It's like
Absolutely. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I never really thought of it that way, but that's super cool.
Yeah, you're working together to get each other over and actually help the fans enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
So
now tell us about your rise to becoming heavyweight champion.
Well, that was when did I become champ now? That was
December.
Yeah. Long time coming. It's I'm with a group called Family Business.
Awesome.
So my manager, John Biz, he was a big help for me, actually. He helped me speak. He spoke to the crowd for me and got me on their bad side, let's say. But he helped me out, and I got some buddies, Buck and Matt Burns, and together we're Family Business, right? So we're the force to be reckoned with in NEW. So with their help, they brought me to the top of the ladder, and and here I am, got the title, and I don't think anybody's taking it anytime soon.
No.
Not like anything to say with it.
That's awesome. So do you have any kind of title match lined up, title defense?
I just defended it there at Mile 1.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Just the other day. So that went over well.
How did that go?
Great. There was like 4,151 people there.
Unreal.
And the feedback was that nobody went to concessions during halftime. They were all in their seats watching him and Scott Humphreys wrestle for the belt. So it's like, I think it turned out great, if you ask me.
How do you get in the mindset for those, for these matches? Like what goes into like your game day routine?
I don't know if I should get in that on the air. But
No, that's fine. But
we all hang out. We all put ring together, and we're all basically just having a good time.
Absolutely.
And we're all buddies.
Who would you say is like the toughest person to go up against? If you had like one main competition, who would that be? Or is there no one?
Well, it's we got a lot of good workers, right? Like from a competitive standpoint, I'm a very competitive guy, so like I'm always kind of trying to compete with everybody that's coming up through. But I mean, As for toughness, I mean, it's work, right?
It is, but and going back to that, I mean, I can't speak for him, but I'm speaking generally speaking for a lot of the talent. A lot of the times when a talent is looking at their matches or trying to look at their performance, their toughest opponent is not even their opponents themselves. They're quite often they're their own worst critics because they want to put off the best match they could possibly put off, and it could be just one little thing that they felt that they did wrong, and nothing that anybody could notice. To them, the match is just, it wasn't as good.
Yeah,
but
I totally get that.
It could have been a great match,
Absolutely. So now, what's coming up next for NEW?
Well, in the next couple of shows, we're doing something a little bit different. I mentioned to you earlier that we're sort of attached to the Cutting Edge Wrestling name as part of like a historic thing. So what we do is we have like a developmental program now for some up-and-coming talent. And I use the word developmental loosely because we do incorporate a lot of our regular talent with it as well. But the general synopsis is we're putting off a couple of shows to give some of the newer talent some experience in front of a live audience. So we have a couple of smaller shows that we're doing in Dildo and Babels at the end of March. Babels is March 30th and Dildo is March 31st. So those are the next two shows that are coming up.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're actually have been joined by John Biz on line number one. So we're going to go over to line number one where John Biz, manager of Blake Maxwell, is now joining us on the program. John, how are you?
Thank you very much for inviting me on the show, Ben.
You are very welcome.
Obviously, my invitation got misplaced. Mr. Canning, we'll talk about that a little bit later. This one's going to cost you.
In what way?
Hey, whoa. This is the John Biz show now. This is the family business show now. Why don't you shut your mouth and let the people get what they deserve, and that's to hear me talk.
Come on with it. Keep it coming.
All right. So here we go. You want to talk about the family business. You want to talk about the future, the thoroughbred, the man, the myth, the legend. Blake Maxwell, you're reigning and defending NEW heavyweight champion. I'm going to tell you something right now, and all the peons in Radio Land better be listening real good. It doesn't matter if it's in Bay Bulls, it doesn't matter if it's in Dildo, and it certainly doesn't matter if it's at the CLB Armory. Blake Maxwell, John Business, Buck Gotch, and Matt Burns, the family business will reign supreme.
That just fired me up so much. Oh my God. John, we're going to need to get you in here some night soon, along with the champ.
Anytime that you want us to come in and give your show a little boost in ratings, you just give me a call.
All right, John. Well, I will definitely keep that in mind. So when are we going to see the heavyweight champ back in action?
As of right now, we make the rules. We do what we want. We may show up to Bay Bulls if enough people call and tweet. And if the people in Dildo can get off of their butts and demand to see the future, we may even show up there. You never know where we're going to be.
There you have it, Travis.
Well, that's John. John knows his stuff, man. I'm telling you.
It's the family business. John, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. And remember, it's not personal, Canning. It's just business.
It's just business.
Awesome, John. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good one. Bye. You got some manager.
I do.
That's unreal. Oh, man. I'm like sweating and everything now. Holy Lord.
John's a huge advocate for the local wrestling scene here. He has been for years.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for that man. He's one of the best promo guys in the history
No
of
kidding.
local wrestling. You know, this guy just touches a microphone and everything else around it disappears. You know?
That was, that was intense. That was awesome. That just absolutely fired me up. So, guys, again, just before we go, how can more people get involved with NEW? When can we see you again?
So you can see us again. As I said, we got two upcoming shows, the 30th and 31st of March. One's in Dillo, the other one's in Babels. The one in Babels, we're actually at the Babels Lifestyle Center, and the tickets are on sale there now. In Dildo, there's tickets on sale at Pitcher's Takeout in Dildo, New Harbor, and they're on sale in Whitburn at Spitz Furniture. So you can check out there as well. And they're not up online yet, but you should be able to purchase them online within the next 24, 48 hours on newevolutionwrestling.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, Travis Canning, Blake Maxwell, New Evolution Wrestling, thank you guys so much for taking the time to join me here in studio tonight. I really appreciate it. That was awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, anytime. Have a guest with me here in studio, so I am very happy to welcome my next guest to the Monday Night Sports Show tonight here live in studio, New Evolution Wrestling's own Mr. John Biz, the CEO of the family business. John, welcome to the Monday Night Sports Show.
Thank you very much for having me on air, Bob. It's been a great experience so far. The producer, Nathan, is your mic live right now? Is it? Do you get paid for this? You got to be the only guy in the building that does. I'm taking a look at what Ben here is wearing. Oh, my God.
You like it?
Like it. I threw something out like that in 1983.
Luckily, they are all hand-me-downs, so they could be yours.
They could be. I once was that small.
So, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got to cover a whole pile of stuff in the world of wrestling. So, first off, we'll kick. Just tell us first off just a little bit about professional wrestling scene here in the province.
Going back quite a ways, the patriarch of Newfoundland wrestling was, of course, the late great Sailor White. One of the few, if memory serves me correct, the only Newfoundlander to ever make it off of this island and wrestle for one of the major promotions down in the United States. At that time, it was the WWF, which was owned by Vince McMahon's father at the time.
Okay.
Right now, we currently have New Evolution Wrestling, which runs this territory, which runs the province. I've been with them, or some would say running amok. I say making the world a better place for approximately 3 years now.
Okay.
They operate shows typically out of the CLB Armory. We're going to talk about a couple of events coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Some highlights, some matches that my clients, the rest of the members of Family Business are in, and we're going to talk about some special attraction matches, people that we have coming in who are on quick up-and-comers, and really guys to keep your eyes on.
Okay, great. So speaking of upcoming matches and events, we do have a couple of tickets to give away for one of those events. John, do you want to just walk us through those tickets and for which event?
Absolutely. So, because I'm such a generous guy, I decided to come here and not only boost your ratings, but we're going to do a ticket giveaway live here. As long as Nathan knows how to use the switchboard. They tell me that you do.
I can figure it out, yeah.
All right. I mean, I'm fairly certain it's just a button.
There's a few buttons.
It's 2 general admission tickets to our upcoming show at the CLB Armory on April 27th. It's the NEW Republic Rumble.
Oh.
So the Republic Rumble is an annual event. It's one of the bigger shows that happens here in the province, and it features an over-the-top battle royal. Now, this battle royal is super special because it gives the winner what we call the golden ticket opportunity.
Okay.
Right?
Tell us a little bit more about that.
So the golden ticket opportunity allows the winner of the Republic Rumble to challenge for any title in New Evolution Wrestling.
Okay, cool.
And challenge any champion at any time. So last year, just in case all of you peons couldn't get tickets, because I wasn't handing them out hand over fist like I am today, my man, who you spoke with a few weeks ago, the thoroughbred, the future, Blake Maxwell, the NEW reigning and defending heavyweight champion, won the Republic Rumble. He threw every other guy over the top rope, And then when the time was right, we picked our spot, and he turned around and pinned not one, but 2 champions, making himself the very first dual champion in New Evolution Wrestling history.
Wow. That's crazy. I can't even wrap my head around that.
So this is what's on the line.
Okay.
This is a shot at glory, and it's only more glorious because the Thoroughbred will make whoever wins the Republic Rumble famous. It's Blake Maxwell's name that you put on the marquee when you want to sell out. And I can tell you this, since he's put that gold around his waist, Ben, every show has been a sellout.
What makes Blake Maxwell so good?
Blake Maxwell is the perfect specimen. He has the look, he has the athleticism, he's a gifted athlete. But on top of that, when I say the Thoroughbred, I really mean it. His training comes from Lance Storm, one of Canada's greatest wrestlers. He studied under Lance Storm in the Lance Storm Academy. And when you combine that with his natural athleticism and charisma, there's no stopping this guy. Now, of course, it always helps to have fair representation in your corner.
Naturally.
And ever since he signed on with the family business, we've seen his star just continue to skyrocket.
How'd the family business reel a guy like this in?
Money and power, the same way we do everything.
So, Nathan, we're going to give away those tickets as we do normally here on the show. We're going to get the goal horn. Do you want to just play it for us so people know what to listen for? You will hear that while myself and John continue this conversation. And when you do, the very first person to call in will win those tickets to this Royal Republic Rumble. I might have just Republic Royal Rumble, somewhat along those lines.
It's okay. I didn't do a whole lot of research for this either.
I'm prepared. I am amped. But yeah, again, when you do hear that goal horn, that's when we will have the tickets. Again, that will play a little later on during our conversation. So now, John, I got to ask you personally. You're a manager. Who influenced you in your role?
Oh, wow. You take a look at all the great managers throughout the time. Bobby the Brain Heenan. You look at current guys on bigger products today. Paul Heyman is a big influence of mine. Ted DiBiase later on in his career. There are a multitude of managers, but one of the big things that you have to remember is, while there's millions of managers, there's only one John Biz, baby.
Yes. So, John, now, where did you get your start? Just tell us about how the family business got on their feet and has grown into what it is now today.
Realistically, I started working with an outfit that's no longer operating anymore by the name of Legend City Wrestling.
Okay.
I got to cut my teeth and learn from a lot of international stars. Guys I got to work with or work cards with guys from all over Canada, all over the world. Worked with a lot of retired WWE superstars: Savio Vega, Jake the Snake Roberts, Rhino. All of these guys imparted knowledge on everybody. My last stint there, just before that organization shut down, I led a contingent of Puerto Rican native wrestlers. That included Apollo El Leon, who has wrestled for Impact Wrestling, the former Puerto Rican heavyweight champion Achilles Falcon. So a lot of international flavor there. Okay. And that just kind of grew. When I started with New Evolution Wrestling, I came in kind of as a manager without any clients. So I spent a couple of weeks scouting the talent, and Blake was one of the first guys that caught my eye. And then there was Buck Gotch, the big 6'4", 500-pound wrecking ball. Good God. I point and say destroy, and this guy destroys anything that's in his way.
I would say that sounds absolutely terrifying. But, John, we actually do have a caller on line 1 right now, and we have Lila Hickey on the line. Lila, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very good.
What's on your mind tonight, Lila?
I have a question for John Biz.
All right. You're on the air. The floor is all yours.
All right. So, John, what is your favorite thing about the fans?
My favorite thing about the fans
Yeah.
is that you've all come and given me your money.
Lila, what do you think about that?
Pretty funny.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask John Biz while he's here?
No, I'm good.
All good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to call into the show tonight. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye. All right, folks. Well, Nathan, we'll take a quick time out. Yeah? Yeah, okay. All right. We'll take a quick time out, and then we'll be right back to continue this conversation with Mr. John Biz himself right after this.
Call now 273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. That's 1-888-590-VOCM. The Monday Night Sports Show will be right back. This is the Monday Night Sports Show on the VOCM Bigland Radio Network.
The Monday Night Sports Show is brought to you by Maverick Sports and Collectibles, 250 Water Street. Everything for the sports fan.
Welcome back to the Monday Night Sports Show, everybody. I'm your host, Ben Murphy, and I am joined here live in studio with Mr. John Biz himself. We're going to jump right over to line number one, where we have Frank Power on the line. Frank, you're on the air.
Hey.
Frank.
How's it going?
Hello, Frank.
Hello, how's it going?
There you go. How are you?
Good, man, good.
Welcome to the Monday Night Sports Show. What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, a huge fan of the Biz, man. I really enjoy your shtick. It's really good, man. Followed you a long time. You said earlier you're a big, huge fan of Heyman's. How about the Weasel? Are you a fan of the Weasels as well?
Take it away.
The Bobby the Brain Heenan?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. How can you be in this business? How can you be a manager in this business and not respect the mind of Bobby the Brain Heenan?
And Crockett. Let's not forget Crockett, man.
Crockett's good.
Yeah, yeah. So being from Newfoundland, would you take offense to being called the Bayman Heyman?
The Bayman Heyman. Let me tell you something, you little punk. There's absolutely nothing Bayman about me. I don't wear rubber boots. I've never been on a trike, and I've never been on EI. You know what, Nathan? Cut this guy. I'm done.
It's a cutthroat business. It's a cutthroat business. Frank, what are your thoughts?
I think he's great, man. He's a great character. I love it. I love it. Keep it going, brother.
Frank, anything else before we let you go?
No.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time tonight.
Make sure the family Biz gets all the gold and keeps it. That's all, man.
We will, brother. Thank you very much for calling in.
Hard times, Daddy.
Hard times.
Thanks so much, Frank. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, and folks, we're going to jump right over to line number two, where we have Fred on the line. Fred, welcome to the Monday Night Sports Show. You're on the air.
How you doing?
How are you?
Not bad.
What's on your mind tonight, Fred?
I got a question for your guest there.
Fire away.
I was a big fan of the New Evolution Wrestling. After that conversation with that young kid you just had on, I won't watch the show no more.
Why's that?
And he sounded like an idiot. What he asked him a simple question, and he felt like taking your money. That's a good answer to say to probably an 8 or 9-year-old. I like taking your money.
Well, I do. Do you want me to lie?
It's entertainment.
Okay, there you go. Sorry, Fred, couldn't hear you.
I said it's entertainment. You don't say that to an 8 or 9-year-old kid. I like taking your money.
It's all entertainment. That's the business.
You sound like an idiot, to be honest with you.
At the end of the day, Fred, you may think I sound like an idiot, but at the end of the day, it's all entertainment, baby, and it's all business.
But you ain't getting my business no more. I'm going to tell you that right now.
You have a good day, Fred.
All right, Fred.
I'll rest easy.
Thanks for your call tonight, Fred.
You sound like an idiot.
All right, Fred. Thank you so much for your call. Have a good night. Nope, I think we lost him. Nope. Okay. All right. Well, wow. Rapid fire on the calls. Holy cow. But we'll keep chipping along. So now we got, again, as we mentioned, big event, some big matches coming up. Tell us all about them.
Absolutely. So, as we mentioned, April 27th at the NEW Republic Rumble at the CLB Armory. We already talked about the Republic Rumble.
Yep.
Let's talk about some of the other highlight matches that are going to be on that card. Starting off with the NEW Heavyweight title being defended by my man, my client, Blake Maxwell versus Wild Thing Tony King. Now, Tony King has been around for a very long time. One of the best technical wrestlers in the ring today, bar none. So this is going to be a really great matchup. Tony wants to go toe-to-toe with the Thoroughbred. He wants to step in the way of family business. I wish you all the luck in the world, Tony. But at the end of the day, you're not going to be the Wild Thing, baby.
What makes Tony so great?
Tony is like a caged animal. He will do whatever it takes to win.
Okay, love that.
That's one of the great things about Tony. But unfortunately, he's going up against the Thoroughbred. So Tony, come the 27th, it's not personal. It's just business.
There you have it. So now, we got a couple other ones. We'll keep on moving away.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have the Interprovincial title, which is being defended by Hellraiser Justin Locke. And unfortunately, Justin drew the short straw because he has to stare across the ring from my monster, my human wrecking ball, Buck Gotch. All 6'5", 500 pounds of a just big, mean, mad monster. And he's been in a foul mood all week long. So Hellraiser, I hope you bring your A game. I know you're a smash mouth kind of wrestler. I know you like to fight. You like to throw haymakers. I'd like to see you try and do that to Buck Gotch, because it isn't going to happen. We will walk out with that Interprovincial title. I can guarantee it. But there's one other match that I want to talk about.
Perfect.
That doesn't actually involve the family business.
Okay.
And it's actually a belt is being defended at the CLB Armory that doesn't even belong to New Evolution Wrestling. It belongs to an outfit called Destiny Wrestling, which is one of the larger independent promotions in Canada. And their champion, the Destiny champion, Josh Alexander, who just signed an Impact contract, is going to be at NEW's Republic Rumble on the 27th of April, and he will be going one-on-one with the redefinitioned Scott Humphreys.
Okay. So that's a lot. That's a lot happening. And we got something happening in June? June as well?
Absolutely. So in June, we actually have two shows. One that I really want to take some time to talk about. It's the biggest show of the summer. It's New Evolution Wrestling Summercade Super Show, located at the Capital Hyundai Arena in St. John's.
Oh, cool.
So we've already announced one of the best unsigned talents in Canada today, Tyson Dukes. Tyson and myself have worked together in the past. I know Tyson very well. Wherever he goes, he puts on a wrestling clinic. Fans, you're going to want to get your tickets early for this event. This is going to be an amazing card, top to bottom, not only because I'm on it, not only because the family business is on it, but because of the matches top to bottom.
All right. Wow, that's a lot happening. That is a lot of exciting stuff, but phone lines keep blocking. So we're going to jump right over to line number 1, where we have John Pittman on the line. John, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, John. How are you?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
I am fantastic. Welcome to the Monday Night Sports Show. What's on your mind tonight?
Just wanted to ask John Biz.
Fire away.
I've been going to the NEW shows a couple of times. I'm actually one of the fairly regulars. And I just wanted to ask John Biz. John, you mentioned all these great managers in the past. The Bobby Heenans, the Paul Heymans, all these other people. What does John Biz have that is going to take the family business further than the Dangerous Alliance or the Heenan family or all these other great factions, further than any of them ever could have had? What is the one thing that is going to take the family business further than anything the wrestling industry has ever seen? What is the one talent that you and your core possess?
That's a great question.
That's
John,
loaded.
you said, right?
Jonathan,
Jonathan. First of all, I love the name.
thank you.
So, John, the
But
one
me
thing
up
that
and then
I
let me hear
possess, the one thing that I possess that no other manager possesses is the ability to anticipate a situation and capitalize on it before anybody else can see it coming. It's been that foresight that has led to signings like the thoroughbred Blake Maxwell, like the human wrecking ball, Buck Gotch. It has brought us the NEW and Newfoundland Tag Team Championships. It has brought Blake Maxwell untold gold, being a dual champion. It has removed multiple GMs who have stood in my way from accomplishing my goal. So it's just foresight and planning is the answer that I have for you, Jonathan. And I hope to see you at the next show so you can see exactly what I mean.
I've already seen exactly what you mean, and I definitely will be at the Republic Rumble. I will be front row and center to see all the action. But let me ask you this. Are you sure that underhanded tactics don't have anything to do with all that success?
Underhanded tactics? One man's underhanded tactics is another man's capitalizing on an opportunity.
Yes.
What a referee can't call, just like in hockey, what he doesn't see, he can't call. It's not my fault that some of the referees need glasses.
I guess I'll give you that.
Jonathan, anything else on your mind tonight?
Just while I gotcha, I gotta put over one of the matches that family business isn't in. Like, you guys, anybody that hasn't got tickets left, there's still some tickets left for Republic Rumble, and you need to sell this show out. It's gonna be a must show. Every NEW show is must see. But you need to see Scott Humphreys take on Josh Alexander, and he is going to win the Destiny Heavyweight Championship. He is the heart and soul, no disrespect to anyone in family business, but Scotty Humphreys is the heart and soul of Newfoundland's wrestling industry, and he is going to take it to places that no other performer on this island has ever imagined. And that starts when he becomes the Destiny Heavyweight Champion at Republic Rumble.
Well, Jonathan, I'm definitely going to be watching that match with a keen interest. And again, remember, foresight and the ability to take advantage of a situation. Have yourself a good evening.
John, thank you so much for your call tonight. I appreciate it.
You too.
Have a good one.
You have a good one too, guys.
Thanks a lot. Bye. All right, so, Mr. Biz, we're almost out of time, but I do have another question that I can't let you go without. So, I want you to talk about the difficulty about getting in to the pro wrestling scene here in Newfoundland and Labrador. How can people get involved and really start pushing up?
Well, right now, it wasn't always as easy as it is right now, to be honest. Realistically, for anybody listening who wants to be involved in the professional wrestling business, the first thing that I'm going to ask is, number one, do the prep work before you show interest. Go to the gym.
Okay.
Look like a wrestler. Work on your cardio. The guys that I represent, the guys that are in that ring, show in, show out, are trained. They train hard in the gym in order to put off shows and matches to entertain all of you. It's not easy. It's a hard life. But once you get that part down, contact New Evolution Wrestling's Facebook page, and they'll be able to set you up with a training schedule, or at least a tryout.
All right. There you have it, and I can attest to that, actually, because when Blake Maxwell was sitting across from me in this room, I couldn't believe the size of him, for one, but just lean, too. Holy cow. But, John, we do need to go to the break, and I can't thank you enough for joining me here live in studio. That was an absolute ride, and 35 minutes of radio that was just something else. So, John, thank you so much for joining me here in studio tonight. I really appreciate it.
You know what, Ben? You're welcome. And to all you peons out in Radio Land, make sure you run out and get your tickets right now to the Republic Rumble, to Summercade Super Show. Hell, buy them all for all your family, so that way I can take every ounce of your money. And remember, it's not personal, it's just business.
Unreal. And on that note, Nathan, we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we have...
Follow NEW on Facebook at New Evolution Wrestling NL. Follow us on Twitter at NEW Wrestling NL. Find all our matches right here at New Evolution Wrestling on YouTube.
All right, welcome back to the program, everybody. This is the Monday Night Sports Show on your VOCM and Labrador's Big Land FM. I'm your host, Ben Murphy, and now I am amped to be joined here live at the VOCM studios by Hellraiser, Justin Locke, Tank, Alicia Ryan, and New Evolution Wrestling's own Mr. Travis Canning. So, guys, welcome, Travis. Welcome back to the program for the second time, and welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
So, first off, we'll dive right in. For those who don't know you, we'll get the Justin Locke, Hellraiser, and Tank, Alicia Ryan. We'll get you to introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. Take it away.
Well, I've been involved with the local wrestling scene here since 2003, and I started then training with the then Cutting Edge Wrestling, which Sailor White had a big influence in. And although I wasn't trained by him then, I was trained by a bunch of guys who went to his school way back in the early to mid 90s. So
that's unreal.
Yeah. So I started then, worked a couple of promotions. It would have been PWA, RPW, and then finally here, CEW, when it relaunched in 2011. And also from there, I've, with the training I've had here locally, I also did some training up in Edmonton with the Prairie Wrestling Alliance.
Okay.
And I got trained there by Tex Gaines, and from there I've been taking part in seminars here locally, a couple by like Billy Gunn, Chris Masters, who's going to be here in July. Well, not here, out in Grand Falls, Windsor, I should say. But I've done that. Then I came back in when Travis opened up NEW in 2015. I've been there since the opening, and it's pretty much, I've been busy since 2003 with it. Yeah.
Crazy. So you've been all over the place. It really, really brings you all over the map, really.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And Alicia, what about yourself?
Well, I started probably 2 years ago with CEW, and I've been with NEW now for about a year. My job is pretty much just look good and guard Locke against shenanigans. There's not really much more to say about that.
Can you actually tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I've been training as much as we can. I've done some seminars. We did a tour there. When was that tour, Locke? Last summer?
Yeah.
We did a couple of dates out in Grand Falls, and there was a couple shows out that way, so that was good. That's pretty much the end. That brings me to here.
Cool. So before we get for you, Travis, to tell us all about yourself, we have a caller on line number 1, so we will swing it over to Chantel Johns. You are on the air. Chantel.
Hello?
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 Hello, how are you?
Good.
What's on your mind tonight?
Asking questions to the Justin Locke and Tank.
All right. What would you like to ask them?
Can we ask 3 questions?
Whatever you'd like.
Okay, the first question is, who's your favorite wrestler besides Tank or Justin?
Who's our favorite wrestler? Mine would have to be, The Undertaker has been my all-time favorite, and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold all the way, or Triple H is also a favorite of mine.
What about you, Travis?
I'm a huge Chris Jericho fan.
Okay.
To the end, and also when I was growing up, Bret Hart was one of my favorites, and Owen as well.
All right. And what about yourself? Who's yours?
Dustin.
Oh,
Good choice.
There you go. Great choice. I've always was a Rey Mysterio person myself. Just saying. I'm just going to come out and say that right away. I don't know if that might be good, bad. I don't know, but that was me as a kid. Anything else on your mind?
I have a question.
Fire away.
Who's your favorite person to wrestle?
There you go. Ooh, tough one. Who's your favorite person to wrestle?
I've had a lot of favorite people to wrestle. Some here locally have been Psycho Mitch, Blake Maxwell, Sheik Aziz. And some of my other favorites from away have been, I've had quite a few matches with Danny Duggan from Winnipeg, and Johnny Devine from Ontario. So it's been too many to name, basically.
Anything else you'd like to ask?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Who's your least favorite person to wrestle?
Ooh. Tough ones.
Well, that's a really tough one, but I would say my least would have been Buck Gotch, maybe, because last show of everything that happened there, he pulled a fast one on me and he took my Provincial title, and I thought I had to go outsmart it, and he got the better of me that night.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Last show I had I was the current 3-time interprovincial champion at the time.
Okay,
and
not a big deal.
I had the title defense against Buck, and he basically got the better of me. He put me in a submission hole. I couldn't breathe. My lights went out, and he was a new champion. And
just like that.
Yeah. I'm still not over that one.
Is there anything else?
No.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to call in tonight. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
I will.
Bye.
Thanks.
All right. Well, that was great. What a way to kick off the show. But,
Absolutely.
Yep.
We'll keep humming along now. So, Travis, now it's your turn. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how NEW all came to be. We went over this last time we were on the show, but just for those who might have missed it.
We did. Well, much like Justin, I've been around the professional wrestling scene a long time. I did take a huge break for a number of years. I did a little bit of training back in the day, but I was never really a wrestler. Newfoundland Championship Wrestling is kind of where I started. And then I was with the original CEW for a brief period of time, just a cup of tea before I left the industry altogether. And when I came back in, I believe it was 2010, we decided to put the wheels in motion to relaunch Cutting Edge Wrestling again. And at that point, I just kind of slowly took over the promoter role, and I was reffing a little bit at the time, and it slowly grew into a situation where we just launched New Evolution Wrestling as well, and I sort of became not just the promoter, but the owner of my own company, and it snowballed from there, and right now we're heading into our 4th year of success under the NEW banner, and CEW is still there on the sidelines, so it's a...
Yeah, and as we talked about last time here, NEW has really taken off.
It has. I can't believe the amount of publicity we're getting, and I have nothing but gratitude towards everybody on my staff for it, because without them, I'm only one person. I do a lot of the promoting, but if you don't have the right people in the right places, it's hard to do.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. So, what was different this time around with NEW? What kind of made that little difference that really helped everything take off?
The business side of it, actually, just making smart decisions, and I'm not. And don't get me wrong, because we're not perfect in any way. Like every business, especially you guys are well aware of the economy in 2018. So, like every business, there's struggles, but it's just making smart decisions for the greater good, and just bringing in people that can attract people into the building. Just as an example, our upcoming event, we've went 3 different directions in the same show to try to get 3 different types of market demographic people in there. We're targeting old school wrestling fans with bringing in former WWE wrestler Hall of Famer Arn Anderson, and then we're bringing in a pretty active WWE wrestler, former WWE wrestler Carlito, who still wrestles, who's like a more modern era wrestler from like the early mid 2000s. And Tyson Dukes, who's a former Cruiserweight Classic competitor in WWE and Impact Wrestling star, so he can put on a wrestling clinic. So he's that hardcore wrestling fan for someone who wants to see, good old wrestling, you know what I mean? So we're just targeting people from all angles. And of course, I can't leave out, there's a lot of publicity here for the local crew.
Of course, yeah.
There's a lot of diehard fans that love these guys. They go out and get recognized at like restaurants and things like that. So to take nothing away from them, of course, there's a mishmash and a recipe, that puts everything together there. It's not just one thing. It's just basically tapping into different areas.
So now, like you just mentioned, you just brought up a lot of big names for this, the Summercade 4 coming up now just this weekend. So just tell us all about this big show this weekend.
Well, essentially, Arn Anderson's probably the biggest name that's, in my opinion, has come to the province in quite some time. I know Jake was here with another company a few years back, and they put off a great show as well. But, I firmly believe that, this is going to be the biggest independent wrestling event that's ever been held by a Newfoundland-owned and operated company outside of WWE. We already have over 900 tickets gone out, including ticket sales and promotional efforts with sponsors and a few giveaways or whatever. So there's going to be a number of people there, and Arn Anderson's obviously a huge drawing factor for that.
Of course,
we put together a great card of locals and some new additions to our roster, and like Andrew Hawk is a new guy who's from Newfoundland, but he wrestled away for years, and he's new, so we have some fresh talent to tap into as well. And of course, putting the girls on the card in a nice little arm wrestling contest is going to boost a little bit of attention there as well. Hey, Tank.
Hopefully.
So will there be actual female wrestling as well outside of that, or is it just going to be the arm wrestling?
We're building towards that,
Okay.
actually. That's something that's going to happen, but it's one of those things where you can't just jump into it. And
Of course.
Much like we've been building over the past 4 years, we don't want to jump into anything and do it wrong. We want to make sure that we have a good grasp on what we're doing before we do it. So eventually what you're going to see down the road is maybe us bringing in a few female wrestlers from away. And the goal is to get Tank and Vera Vine, and we're going to do some local recruitment. If there's any ladies out there, contact our page, whatever, if you're interested at all. And it's obviously not for everybody, but you do screen people and whatever the case may be. But we will be going that direction as well. The women's movement in wrestling right now, in general, is a huge thing. If you see what's going on with WWE, they just main event at WrestleMania with 3 women. So that's a real thing, and the women are taking over, man, and good on them,
It was only a matter of time.
And that's actually right where I was going to go next, is kind of like, how much is it really taking off for women, and especially in your position?
Oh, women's wrestling is in a great place right now. I remember it wasn't that long ago when the women's matches were like your bathroom break. When the women came on, we just kind of like went out for a smoke or whatever. But like now they're actually, if arguably better than a lot of the male competitors in their same business, right?
Yeah.
Amazing things. We've got some really great female wrestlers that are not just in their pillow fights or silly stuff like that. They're actually wrestling. They're athletes. They're competitors, and it's a great time for women's wrestling.
Yeah, that must be pretty exciting.
It's super exciting. It's great to be a part of.
And so, where do you kind of hope to take it here in the province? I'll leave that to both of you.
I want to see women main eventing local wrestling events. That's the bottom goal that I have and have always had since I started getting involved with this.
I'm with her on this. I think women are extremely marketable in a number of areas for a really long time, and it's been a male-dominated sport, and the audience has been traditionally, male-targeted. And I believe that by having women in the main event scene, there's a little girl out there that will probably look at somebody like Tank or like someone we bring in or like Vera and be like, hey, I can do that too. So I feel like that's a real thing. It'll help build the audience. It'll also, not everybody out there likes wrestling. Let's be honest, right? There's a reason for it,
Who
right?
are these people?
This is my response too, right? But the reality is not everybody likes wrestling. But by changing it up and giving an opportunity for someone, give the women an opportunity. It'll give an opportunity for someone to see that product and be like, okay, you know what? This is a good thing. It's good for everybody. It's good for money. It's good for entertainment. It's good for just pretty much every avenue,
Yeah, and what do you say to those people out there who, because of course, the wrestling fans out there are going to know all these people who you're bringing in for these events.
Right.
But what do you say to the people out there who, aren't the big wrestling fans and try to draw them in as well?
Well, there's a certain market of people that are just going to be jaded no matter what. So you have to accept the fact that you're not going to get a yes every time from somebody. But I guess the thing is to just add other things aside from wrestling. On a smaller scale, something that I'd like to do is incorporate like maybe a local celebrity that might draw somebody. I know we were joking around earlier, and Tank brought up Alan Doyle.
I want a match.
She wants a match with
I
Alan Doyle.
know I can take him.
Amazing.
I know I can.
So, but I mean, just to give you, sort of like cross promote, if you
totally.
can tie something in like that. So that's a way to get people to warm up to your audience. And at the end of the day, you don't really want wrestling to be a niche market product. But if you don't incorporate other people from other areas, that's the way it's going to stay.
Fair enough. So now, we talked a lot about Arn Anderson and him coming here now. So, what does that mean to all you who have been in this wrestling industry for so long and, and have followed it so closely to have someone like that come here?
He's a god. And I can't wait for him to get here. I'm going to be like a kid on Christmas. It's so exciting.
And what about for someone like yourself?
Well, he's arguably one of the bigger names of come to Newfoundland. Like he's
to
the best of my knowledge, he's never been here. So the fact that he's going to be coming to St. John's, Newfoundland, and headline the show like Summercade 4, it means a lot for the local scene. And we'll probably get some fans who have never been to a show or haven't been to one in years, buy a ticket to come watch him because it's really is once in a lifetime to be able to meet a guy like that and have him headline your show. So this is probably one of the biggest shows, if not the biggest, that NEW has put off since its first show in 2015. So
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just to follow up on what Justin said, it's a rare opportunity to meet a guy like him, whether you're a wrestler or a fan in this area of the country or even in this country. I mean, he doesn't do a whole lot of appearances far from, I guess, where he's located. And he literally just left WWE a little while ago. And so, I mean, for us to get him right as soon as he left and sign him, I think we were one of the first people to have him booked. He'd done a wrestling convention recently, StarCast, with AEW. Outside of that, I think there might have been a couple appearances. So we might actually be one of the third or fourth appearances he's booked in years outside of WWE. So we were pretty lucky to nab that up when we had the opportunity. So,
is it tough? How tough is it to try to reel in those big names?
Well, financially, it's tough. I mean, you really need to know, if someone's giving you their worth for their money. And then, Arn Anderson is, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So I felt like it was something that we needed to jump on, right?
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
In terms of context, if you build up your reputation over time and people know that, you're straight up, in terms of business, it's not really hard. It just takes a while. So you just start off slow, and then next thing you know, you have a pile of contacts in your pocket and someone's agent, and somebody knows somebody. It's an internal network thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So, Hellraiser, Tank, what can we expect from you guys this weekend at this show?
Awesomeness, straight up.
What kind?
We're gonna steal the show,
and we're gonna raise hell.
I like that.
That is what we do.
So, just tell us a little bit about it. When you're saying that you guys are going to go out there and raise hell, just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, there's not much to say. It's myself and Tank ever since we've paired up, and we've done nothing but show up, raise hell, and basically aim for the top spot. And that top spot right now is the NEW Heavyweight Championship. And a certain Blake Maxwell right now has that title. And
for now.
Yeah, exactly, because at the last show, I may have lost the interprovincial title, but I did win the Republic Rumble, and with that gives me a thing called the Golden Ticket. And the Golden Ticket basically gives me a shot anytime for the next year against one Blake Maxwell or whoever the champ may be. But basically, he is his days of champ are numbered because I'm just waiting for the right time, the right place. It may be Summercade, it may be another show, but his days are numbered as champ, and I will be the new heavyweight champion.
All right. Well, when I had Blake and John Biz in here in studio as well for one show, and they were pretty confident that title is not going anywhere. So what do you say to the people out there and how you're going to get this done?
Well, I'm not going to go out and tell you exactly how I'm going to get it done because I'm sure Mr. Blake Maxwell is listening and he's wondering if he got to watch his back at Summercade. And I can tell him right now it's going to happen when he least expects it. And the same ordeal as when he cashed in a certain golden ticket last December. He came into a match where myself and the redefinition Scott Humphreys were in a title versus title match.
Slimy move.
Yeah, he came in, he cashed in, he pulled the fast one, got the pin on Scott, and walked away with both belts. So a certain thing called payback is in the future for that. So Blake, enjoy that belt while you still can, man.
I absolutely love it. But we are going to take a quick time out. Where one's Zach? Right? Okay, he's on the phone, but we'll continue for another second. So where did this duo start?
Well, she said it best earlier. Like, I've known Tank for a few years, and I've been wrestling for quite a few years, and like I've very rarely had a match or team member of any sort. So
nobody else could handle him.
Well.
That's true. I'll vouch for that.
The thing was, there was guys like John Biz and Vera Vaughn hanging around the scenes, interfering in matches, and trying to stick their nose in my business. So I got a little bit sick of that. So I found Tank. She was willing to come watch my back, and we've been pretty successful.
Unreal. All right, Zach, we're all set now. So, we'll take a quick time out, and then we're going to continue this conversation for a few more minutes when we come back on the Monday Night Sports Show right after this.
This is the Monday Night Sports Show on the VOCM Big Land Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Monday Night Sports Show, everybody. I'm your host, Ben Murphy, and I'm joined here live in studio with NEW's Travis Canning, Justin Locke, and Alicia Ryan. So we're actually going to jump right over to line number 1 right now, where we have Josh Travers on the line. Josh, you're on the air.
How you doing, buddy?
Fantastic, man. How you doing?
Not too bad.
What's on your mind tonight?
Question there. Pardon me?
Fire away.
Oh, my question is, I just want to know who your top 3 rookie wrestlers are. I'm just wondering.
Take it away, my friend.
Top 3 rookie?
Yeah.
Well, there's a few coming around right now. They've been training for the last year or so. One for sure, even though I really don't like his persona, Jeremiah Javen. He's really been proving himself in the last year. And Brady Felix, he's another guy with a lot of potential, could really go some places. And thirdly would be Zach Youngblood. He's also been around for about the last year, training and working his butt off. And yeah, that's 3 people that you can look to see great things from.
Travis, Alicia, any input?
Me.
Yes. Travis?
I think Tank is coming along great in their training, and I think there's only a matter
Good
of time
answer,
before that breaks out. But also, one of our newer folks, Manly William Marsh, great guy,
I don't
great
like
character.
that guy.
I love that guy.
I don't like that guy. He has a nice mustache, though.
He does.
I'll give him
Fair.
that.
Yeah, also, he said top 3, but we have so much wealth of upcoming talent. Jeremiah Javen and Brady Felix, like Locke just said, are also great guys that are up and coming. They just need to work with the right people and learn a little bit more. And as we progress, they'll progress as well.
Mm-hmm. Anything else on your mind, Josh?
No, I was kind of actually rooting for Jeremiah Javen. That's why I asked.
Oh, get out of here.
No, that was my only question, boss. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Are you going to be heading down to the show this weekend?
I will be during Grand Falls show. I will be.
All right.
It's July 25th of Grand Falls. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, Josh, thank you so much for calling in tonight. Have a good one.
You too, brother.
Have a good one. Bye. Tell us about that Grand Falls show.
Oh, okay, so we have former WWE wrestler Chris Masters booked to come in Grand Falls for our Central Island Invasion event on July 25th at the Joe Byrne Arena. So plug for that, plug for Chris Masters. Chris loves Newfoundland. He's been here before with us, and he's been here with WWE, I believe, as well. And he can't wait to come back. He loves coming here. He loves the fans here. So it's going to be a great time.
So now, something I always like to ask people, and when we had Blake Maxwell in, he talked about it as well, but you guys sustained some pretty brutal injuries.
Oh, yes.
So can you just tell us about some of the, the more tougher, more gruesome, brutal kind of injuries you've gone through in the ring?
I've never been injured because you can't hurt steel, so take this over.
Well, I've been pretty lucky, I must say. Like I haven't broken any bones. I've had bruised ribs, some stitches. Now my big thing has been concussions. I've had a few more than I'd like to admit that like I've had, because that's just the nature of the business. Like you bump your head and like it's a concussion. It could be mild, could be a severe one, but luckily for me, I've like that's the most I've had like for injury wise. Like you get bumped and you get bumps and bruises nightly and minor stuff like that, but that just goes with the job basically.
That's just the game.
But if the worst injury I've had would be just a couple stitches or like a concussion or some bruises, I'd be pretty lucky if that's all I had by the time I'm done wrestling. But yeah.
Do you want to tell them about what happened with on Danny's tour across the country there last year when you were doing that one?
Well, I started doing it was 23 days. It was a 32-day tour that Danny Duggan of Winnipeg put off with his Canadian Wrestling Elite. And I had a couple shows to work for Travis here, so I couldn't do all 32, but I flew up to start, to do 23 of them. And the first night, actually, it couldn't have started any worse, because I went out and I had to wrestle a guy who was, he was much bigger than me, and usually I was used to being down here wrestling guys and being like the bigger of the two in the ring. But this guy, Tyler Colton was his name, the Canadian Hercules Tyler Colton. I was paired against him, didn't know the guy. Like all I knew was I was up for a challenge and in for a fight that night. So the match went good. Only thing was, from just a simple close on, I drove my tooth right through my tongue, and like it was a very bad way to start the tour, because it's annoying enough for an injury to happen like that. But when it affects you talking and eating, it was just a really uncomfortable thing. And after that, then it was a little bit, the whole tour got banged up, but I think it was the third or fourth night, it was, I landed wrong on a suplex and hurt my heel, and that was a lingering injury even after the tour was over, going into December, because just a simple wrong movement can really do a number on you, because like a lot of people think that ring is like a trampoline, but it's a steel frame with a bit of wood and maybe a few inches of padding. So
yeah, it doesn't tickle.
So if you land wrong on that and you bump wrong, it's gonna hurt, and you just better hope that you know what you're doing, because it just takes one wrong little movement and you can be messed up for quite a bit, even permanently.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so, actually, there was one more. So, you're a bit of a brawler, correct?
Oh, yeah.
That's more your style. Where did that come from?
Well,
it's his natural personality.
It's a long story, because
I think he came out of the womb swinging.
Well, that could have been it. But the whole thing was, I grew up in kind of rough areas of town and was just into trouble sometimes, just fighting and whatnot. So when I got into, pretty much. But when I got into wrestling, I sort of used a bit of my real life personality, and when I just adapted to that style of wrestling, like the brawling, even hardcore style. But I've been doing a lot of the training I've been doing has been technical wrestling. So occasionally I like to mix it up and have a good technical match, and still have the brawl in there, but still put on a good show and break out some different moves that people normally don't see me do. So I wouldn't say I'm just a brawler, but brawling is my favorite thing to do, and Tank's the same way.
I was just about to ask the same thing.
All day, every day. I like hurting people. I don't care how I hurt you, but I'm going to hurt you.
You hear that, Vera Vaughn?
There you have it. So now, just before we have to wrap up here, just give us one final plug before the show this weekend.
All right, so we have I'll plug the 3 shows we have coming up for the summer.
Absolutely.
All right, so we have the Summercade 4 Super Show, June 22nd at the Capitol Hill Arena in St. John's with Arn Anderson, former WWE Wrestler and Hall of Famer. We also have former WWE Wrestler Carlito on board, and WWE Cruiserweight Classic competitor Tyson Dukes, and all the rest of the local scene. And then the following day, it's Summercade 4, the saga continues, and that's Whitburn at the Trinity Placentia Arena. So Tyson Dukes is going to be one of the headliners there for that one. And then we float back to, in July, we float back to Central again like we did last year, and we're bringing Chris Masters, as I talked to you about earlier, at the Joe Byrne Arena. So all the tickets for all of those are on sale pretty much at our local ticket outlets and online at newevolutionwrestling.com. If you want more information, you can just go to our Facebook page or social media. All the information's on all the posters.
All right, well, there you have it. New Evolution Try that again. New Evolution Wrestling's Travis Canning, Justin Locke, Hellraiser, and Alicia Ryan, the Tank. Thank you guys so much for joining me here in studio tonight. That was an absolute blast, and I can't wait for the show this weekend.
Thank you
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll definitely... But now, in saying that, I am very, very excited to welcome my next guests here live at the VOCM studios tonight. Our friends of the show over at New Evolution Wrestling, Mr. Travis Canning. Welcome. Thanks for joining us here again.
Thanks for having me back. Was it 3 times now?
Yeah, this is the 3rd time, so it's...
we must be doing something
exactly,
right. Exactly,
yeah. And you've earned the friend of the show status there, so all you got to do is return the 2nd time, so
Absolutely.
There we go. And but now, also, our special guest tonight, joining Mr. Travis Canning, Dynamite Dylan Davis. So, welcome.
What are you, Ben?
Thank you for joining us here in studio tonight. And Dynamite, it's been a while since you've been home. First time here back in the homeland in quite some time. It's been a bit over a year since you've been here doing shows. So first off, man, how does it feel to be back home?
Man, it feels great. I can't put into words how it feels to be home again amongst all my, family and friends and people who know who I am and know what I'm all about. So I'm stoked to be here. I'm even more stoked to be part of this big tour for the next 4 days with the crew and Travis here. So I'm excited, man.
And now, we also am joined here tonight by a colleague of mine, Mr. Richard Duggan from the VOCM newsroom. You'll know the name and know the voice. Richard, big wrestling fan, so we were happy to bring him in tonight as well.
Thank you, Ben. I've been a wrestling fan since I was 10 years old, so I can talk your ears off about this subject. I'm excited.
All right, awesome. We're all excited here tonight, and we are taking callers the whole time these guys are in studio again. So if you have any questions for either Dynamite Dylan Davis or Mr. Travis Canning, give us a call, 273-5211, 1-888-590-8626. And you can ask the guys some questions, whatever is on your mind. So now, Dynamite, just tell us a little bit about yourself for those who might not know you.
All right, so where do I start? So I started wrestling here back in, my first match was like 2008. We did local shows here, just the crew here. We everyone had their own little small ring. We ran shows locally in the Legions and whatnot. Over the years, the show has got bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? 2010, I believe, I started wrestling with LCW. Now, this was the company that sort of brought wrestling back to the island after what was known as maybe a dark time. It wasn't as well perceived. So with that, at the time, they brought in talent from all over the world. Guys like Mike Hughes, Tyson Deuce, Coco Cabana, and the list goes on and on. These were the guys that sort of helped, I guess, push me as well as other guys here locally to, I guess, the next level. So I wrestled here from about 2010 then to about 2016. Then I moved to Nova Scotia, where I've been wrestling now the last 3 years. All over Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec, Ontario, and I've done some events as well in the U.S. too.
Okay.
Through those 3 years, I've worked with some of the very best in the country. And if you ask me, compared to 3 years ago, I've grown a lot. I guess you could say I'm a little more mature. Mm-hmm. My mindset towards wrestling and like life is definitely changed for the absolute best. So since 2008, I've been just the local lad, just trying to bust his arse. I guess you could say, you know what I mean? To try
Absolutely, yeah.
To try and get as far as I can with this, because there's no one from here that
of course, yeah,
that gets to that upper echelon of wrestling, right? So that alone was my like main drive to keep going and going and going, even when things didn't seem so well. There's always that thought in the back of my head that things will get better if you keep working. Right?
Of course,
so,
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I find that super interesting how you say, how much you've grown and matured just over the last few years. And just tell us a little bit about that process. What was it for you that kind of, maybe flipped that switch and kind of turned things around for you?
I think the biggest part, again, it was the move. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I spent years here, comfortable where I was. I guess you could say that the big fish in a small pond, more or less. So I knew that I needed to do something. I knew that if I stayed here, I could be good, but if I moved, I could be better. So that alone was my go to sort of, leave home, the comforts of home, leave mother at home, you know what I mean, and then just go away, right? So, immediately you're put in a, I guess, uncomfortable kind of spot where everything's new to you.
Totally.
I went from, I wrestled here for years, so I was well known, to going from that to no one knows who I am right now. Right? So a big shot to my ego, I guess you could say, right? So I had to start from square one again, which I was cool with that. I knew what I had to do. But that alone makes you change your mindset towards not only wrestling but like life.
Of course,
you know what I mean. And then of course you meet people from all walks of the earth too. Like people, different personalities. People are cool. People aren't so cool. So you gotta learn how to really handle that too without blowing off the handles, right? So there's so many ways I can't really pinpoint how wrestling has helped me grow up and mature. It just has. I just noticed it,
Absolutely. And
so one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, given your name, the Dynamite Dylan Davis, were you influenced at all by the Dynamite Kid? Was he one of your guys?
Yeah, for sure, man. I have the DVD home of Dynamite Kid matches from Japan and stuff, dude. I watched it hours and hours and hours. Him and Benoit were guys that I really watched, influenced me in a big way. The name Dynamite actually was given me by Cowboy Mike Hughes. Oddly enough, when I started with, I first met Mike in 2010. He said to me that I look kind of like the Dynamite Kid. That's okay, cool. And then here I am a month later. I'm wearing the Union Jack trunks and the red tights. I'm Dynamite Dylan Davis. And for a brief moment, I was British for a little bit too, and that was kind of strange. Guys, you think Newfie's got a weird accent? You try being Newfie and fake British? Oh man, terrible. So that didn't last long.
Can we get a sample of
that? Okay. What do I say? I didn't know it. See, I have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say something and offend the British, so we're gonna leave
Fair
it.
Fair enough. All right. Fair play. Just personally, I feel the need to, every time I say Dynamite Dylan Davis, I feel the need to scream it. If that makes you feel any better, that's the emotion I feel when I say Dynamite Dylan Davis. I find it hard to reel it in
yell it out,
and keep it at the mic level. But we do have a caller on line number 1 who has a question for you, Dynamite. This is Andrew Hines. You're on the air.
Hello, cousin. How are you?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. I'm glad we're, on behalf of the family and all your friends, it's so good for you to be home. We're so glad that you're home. It's been since Christmas we saw you, so congratulations on all your success and everything you do up in Halifax. And big shout out to Travis and everybody. Thank you for bringing our cousins home, my cousins home, and it's great to see you home, man. I hope your tour is really great for you, man.
Thank you, buddy. I'll see you at the show on the 28th at the Armory.
Yes,
all
sir.
Right. Look forward to it, buddy.
There, man.
Can't wait, man.
All right, man.
Anything else, Andrew?
Say again?
Anything else before we let you go?
No, man. That's good, man. Thank you.
All right, pal. Thanks so much for giving us a ring.
You're welcome.
Have a good night. Bye-bye. So actually, yeah, Zach, we'll take a quick break. Yeah, okay, we'll take our first time out of the evening here, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation with Dynamite Dylan Davis and Travis Canning of New Evolution Wrestling. We'll be right back on the Monday Night Sports Show right after this.
The Monday Night Sports Show will be right back. This is the Monday Night Sports Show on the VOCM Big Land Radio Network.
The Monday Night Sports Show is brought to you by Maverick Sports and Collectibles, 250 Water Street. Everything for the sports fan.
Welcome back to the Monday Night Sports Show on your 590 VOCM and Labrador's Big Land FM, brought to you by Maverick Sports and Collectibles. I'm your host, Ben Murphy. We're joined here live in studio with New Evolution Wrestling's Travis Canning and Dynamite Dylan Davis, along with colleague of mine, Richard Duggan. We're going to continue on with this conversation all about this upcoming tour. So, Travis, why don't you tell us all about this tour that's coming to St. John's and the surrounding area in this coming week?
So back, I think about 4 months ago, I started laying the groundwork to do a tour. Excuse me. Can you guys hear me a little bit better?
All good.
So yeah, about 4 months ago, we were coming off of a big show here in
Yeah.
St. John's, Summercade,
Yep.
and Arn Anderson and everything here. And at the same time, I was laying the groundwork for like a handful of dates to go into the fall. I really wanted Dynamite to come back and sort of reintegrate himself here if his schedule permitted. So
Mhm.
I tried to make it financially realistic to make that happen, including scheduling and everything, because, you know, there's flights and everything
Oh, yeah.
involved. So I started laying the groundwork then and put together 4 dates, and I just put together a September Supremacy, tried to do some creative alliteration,
Yeah.
do some smart marketing, and I approached Dynamite about coming in, and we worked out a deal and got a few guys on board with it, and it was great. You know,
Yeah.
that's pretty much where we're at with it now. We're hitting up St. Lawrence, which is pretty much Marystown.
Yeah.
Then we're going to Glovertown.
Okay, nice. It's central.
And after that, we're heading to Victoria, which is essentially Carbonear, and then back to St. John's, the big one, for our first trip back to the CLB since April or May of last year.
Yeah, wow.
Or this year, sorry.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big one. It's kind of like a go-home show or come-home show.
Yeah, yeah. So how can people take in some of these programs?
Well, first thing is, if you're in the local area, you can go to like the local ticket outlets, and you'll see posters up everywhere. I think like Isaac Clover Farm in like St. Lawrence has our tickets on sale there. You can get
Okay.
all of the tickets, and all our events are available to be purchased on newevolutionwrestling.com. So St. Lawrence, I just told you about. Glovertown, go to the town hall. They have tickets there, and also again on our website. Victoria, the Victoria Irving off the highway there, just behind Carbonear. You can get tickets there as well. And then St. John's, just like always, is at Game Exchange.
Mhm.
And final plug for newevolutionwrestling.com. Just, you know,
Perfect.
tickets there, no
Absolutely.
problem.
All right. So now, Dynamite, for you, I wanted to ask, and me and Richard were talking about this as well. Is it important to you to incorporate, you know, Newfoundland and Labrador and a lot of these nautical nuances into a lot of your, you know, like pre-game, pre-match stuff?
Yeah. So right now I'm sort of doing. My look is sort of inspired by. If you've ever heard of the Moondogs, Sailor White. Yeah.
Yep.
So right now I'm sort of doing. I wear the ripped up jeans
Yep.
with the bleach stains and a rope for the belt, right? So right now I'm sort of doing the. I guess you could say a tribute to Sailor White kind of deal. Sailor White has been known to be one of the only Newfoundlanders to sort of, make it close to the big stage. So in my mind right now, I'm going to finish the work that he started right now. So that's why, again, I try and get out as far as I can.
Something that I thought was really cool is it's posted on your Facebook page. Is there you shared a promo that you did?
Yes,
and it has you're kind of sat on like a stool, and there's a graffitied wall in the background, and I thought it was so cool because there's like a backtrack of, I think it's Drunken Sailor, but it's an eerie version of it, and you're speaking over it, and I thought that was just such a cool way to deliver that promo, and I thought it was very effective the way it was delivered.
So that was for my match against Stu Grayson. It was my first time working for a company in Cornwall, Ontario called Seaway Valley Wrestling. They put me in the main event spot right away against Stu. So I knew immediately that I needed to do something special. I needed to make sure that they knew who I was going into this match. So I needed to do a promo that was not your average normal promo where you drop the date, location, and I needed to grab people's attention and really like freak them out. So I do have a right now. My character is a salty sailor, fisherman who's bitter and angry and just wants to fight. Right, so. Definitely, the influence from home is definitely there every match. I make a joke that it's influenced as well by my pop, my grandfather, because he's salty, but you know what I mean. Different are salty, but so I do definitely have an influence from home and the nautical nonsense side of everything as well. For sure.
Now, I wanted to ask, you said you started in 2008. We're in 2019 now. How has the Newfoundland wrestling scene kind of changed and evolved since you got started?
Oh, well, night and day. For real, though, it's been crazy to see. When I first even came to shows as a fan, the quality of wrestling has changed immensely. It's unreal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The quality of shows is definitely surpassed anything that anyone thought could happen. There's TV deals. There's sold out like huge crowds.
Yeah.
There's names coming in that are it's just a different market now than it was back then. It's definitely I don't want to say back then that wrestling was like soiled but it was definitely looked at more of a negative light than it is now for sure. Mm. Through the years too, there's been a lot of cleaning up old mistakes.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
And right now, I feel like Travis has found that sort of niche to sort of fine tune the mistakes that have happened from the past. So here we are today. I believe it's his third year. And I feel like every year he gets better and better and better. And as he goes too, he learns more and more as well. So it's sort of like the crew all grows as one.
Yeah,
together. Right?
Yeah, you mentioned how you kind of felt the need to leave the island so you could get that start and make that jump and really get into those big leagues of wrestling. Do you feel like now that younger wrestlers might not need to make that jump off the island with the way things are going now?
I always say you never stop learning in wrestling. If a young lad wants to stay home and wrestle here for forever, that's fine. Mm-hmm. I'll always but I do always say it's best to reach out for more experience to get your miles in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because again, wrestling is so universal, but again, very unique in its styles as well. So it's good to be open-minded towards every style that's out there, whether it be Newfoundland's old school style, the Maritime style, Quebec's fast-paced style, or so forth as well, right? Yeah. So you need to be very well-versed if you want to be one of the very best.
Yeah, so where have you traveled exactly, and what have you learned abroad?
What I was going to ask.
So for me, I moved. I wrestled all over Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec as well. I've wrestled in Alberta, some of the U.S. as well. One of the things I learned, I know for sure, is my style is definitely a little more unique now and exciting because of the work I spent in Quebec for North Shore Pro Wrestling. I was their maritime champion for, I think it was 303 days. During that whole time, I worked some of the very best in the country, Mm-hmm. So, as much as I think, only a small town lad from a small town, don't know, to be put against the ring from these guys who, again, are the very best in Canada, is definitely something that you definitely learn real quick how to adapt and adjust, you know what I mean?
One of the things that you mentioned earlier was that you were put right into the main event. So how does it feel to kind of be in that position now where you can be trusted as that guy to come in as the headliner and deliver?
You know what? It's something I'm still getting used to, and it goes back to when I first won the belt here. It's surreal to finally be trusted to be put in that spot, because going back for years here, us locals we fought for that spot. We fought hard for it too, and we felt like it was never there for us. It was always for someone else. So when, as a local boy, to finally get that main spot, not only here, but elsewhere as well. It was definitely something that even now seems surreal. Like, I work hard, but I still feel that opportunity wasn't mine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm just humble, right? So like, I don't think I deserve anything. It's weird, I know. But yeah, again, to be put in a spot, there's no way you just can't try your best. You just can't be your best because someone's gonna invest in you as that. You gotta give them what they want, right?
So, what can people expect now from Dynamite Dylan Davis during this September Supremacy Tour?
Well, during this tour, I spent, as you said, 16 months away from the ring here. 16 months of like working with the very best. 16 months of getting pretty salty. So, once I step through those ropes this week, whoever's across the ring from me is gonna feel the wrath of the salt. You know what I mean? They're lucky I don't got my paddle here because, once I want that back and release that, that's it, right? So, what you can expect from me is the saltiest, meanest sailor you've ever seen in the ring. That's it.
Unreal.
That's right.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Dynamite Dylan Davis, thank you very much. And Travis, just one final plug for how people can take in this September Supremacy Tour.
Well, again, we're in St. John's on the 28th. That's the final day of the tour, which will be the big one for, I'm sure, the majority of people, tuning in right now. But if you're in the Marystown area, St. Lawrence, we have a date there for you on the 25th of September. The 26th, we're in Glovertown, so we feel like anybody that's close to Central or just a little ways down from Carbonear or sort of Clarenville, be able to take that in there. And, of course, tickets are on sale there at the Town Hall. And the Carbonear area, Victoria, we're going to be there at their community center as well. And the final day, as I said, St. John's is the big one. So,
all right, well, there you have it, folks. The New Evolution Wrestling September Supremacy Tour is coming your way in just a few days. Dynamite Dylan Davis, Travis Canning of New Evolution Wrestling, thank you both so much for joining me here live in studio tonight.